I platinumed Monster Hunter Wilds and I'm going to show you what happened. There are a total of 50 trophies, the platinum itself, 2 gold, 11 silver and 36 bronzes. This journey had me playing through the story, gathering miscellaneous trophies like capturing rare creatures to slaying the most powerful monsters. Let's dive into where it all began. The opening, where a group of people are trying to escape from an aggressive monster. A man named Tashin moves the rubble out of the way to allow a boy named Nada to escape, who is eventually found by the guild, documenting the area of the Forbidden Lands, a region that was split off from civilization over 1,000 years ago, and thought to be deserted ever since. This is where we come in. Our leader Fabius explains that Nada claims to be part of a clan, the Keepers. Unfortunately, the underground tunnel he used to escape had collapsed, and the only leading source we know is a hypothesis from the scholars, that the monster who attacked Nada's village was thought previously extinct. They're calling it the White Wraith. The guild has authorized the rescue of the Keepers and an investigation into the monster, selecting us as the lead hunter for the expedition. We're introduced to Alma, our handler, Gemma, our smithy, and of course Nata. Our team is travelling the sand dunes to find a suitable area to set up base, when suddenly we notice several worm-like monsters pursuing a person riding a raptor. Wondering how to save them, we see a riderless raptor in jumping distance, allowing us to chase after the person and eventually get them to safety. The girl we save says her brother Yasai is still missing, and that the raptor, known as a sacred, will know his scent. We find him being terrorized by a toad-like monster, a chadacabra. It is a slow, strong-hitting amphibian, however it has no match against my Dualblades, creating wounds on its body for some serious damage. With Yasai saved, we reunite him with his sister Nona, unlocking our first trophy. They're from a nearby village, but unfortunately they know nothing of the tribe called the Keepers. He suggests that the elder of his village could know something. Escorting them back to their village, we're not allowed in as our visit is ill-timed. On our way to base, we also sight a bear-like monster that we carefully avoid. Alma says the support team is also ill-timed as they have not returned yet. We see an SOS flare fired into the sky. They're being chased by a K-Matrix, but it's too fast to chase on foot. Luckily for us, Yasai randomly appears and offers us to use the Sacred to pursue. The monster has a large tail that can ignite and set you ablaze, but with perfect rolls, it isn't too much of a problem. After dealing with the monster, we return with Yasai to his village, where we are now welcomed. Unfortunately, the Elder also knows nothing of the Keepers. They wish they could be better hosts to us, as they explain of a sandstorm that brings intense lightning and wind, meaning the village needs to prepare. It is an important event for them, as after the sandstorm, the new spring begins, when life is restored to all the earth. The wasteland becomes a season of plenty. We mentioned the dangerous bear-like monster Yosai that was near the village. He says it's a Doshagama, and they never used to venture out of the forest, which is up the river and beyond the grasslands. The wind chimes of the village protect them, as they sound like the creature that even the Doshagama fear. Thanking for their help, it is time to head to the forest to start our investigation into the monster. The forest is very diverse, with its blood-red water, and luckily a camp has already been set up by the Astrum unit, Olivia and Eric. They suggest a pop-up camp further into the forest to conduct the investigation. We find tracks from fur to gashes left in a tree. We also come across a Lala Barina floret, another monster in the area, in which Eric continuously finds more of it, and wanders off by himself. Upon realization he is missing, we find him caught by the spider-like monster, which we successfully slay by targeting its abdomen. With Eric saved, we decide to pursue our investigation once more, only to find a group of Linians, known as Wudwuds, taken over our pop-up camp. They'll give it back to us if we deal with the great menace causing them trouble. A Gungala. They describe its pink fur as stylish and cool, but its gases are of a stinknacious variety. My new Lala Barina Dualblades make quick work of it. Returning to camp, I can now accept side quests, in which I decide to complete my first by learning how to catch a fish, unlocking me 2 trophies. Delving into the forest once more, we would come across a pack of Doshagama and notice the alpha causing havoc. Knowing that a pack of monsters are to follow their leader, we decide to alert Yasai's village of the potential danger, and he thinks the guard Zato could convince the elder that it is a serious matter. However, he is currently out at the oasis, and upon our discovery, his group have been attacked by a horde of Balahara. I'd unlock my next trophy during this fight by successfully mounting a monster for the first time. After saving Zato, we return to the village to find the back of Doshagama attacking it. In order to drive them out, we release the livestock and pursue the alpha. The sand tide also starts to occur. Its large size makes it an easy target for its weak points, but it can also hit hard in return. I'd unlock several trophies here, one for using my binoculars mid-fight to spot a gold crown large monster, the second for landing 50 successful attacks on weak points in focus mode, then obtained my first silver crown or higher in the hunting log after the alpha was defeated. The sand tide comes to an end, resulting in the season of plenty. The environment thrives with new life. The village thanks us by gifting us the sacred to easily navigate the area, and our main objective now has a lead, as Nada tells us Astrum unit has discovered drag marks in the depths of the forest that are possibly related to the White Wraith. Before that, I unlock another trophy for customizing the sacred for the first time. It's raining heavily in the forest and we find Olivia engaging in battle with a water leviathan. However, it is not the White Wraith. It likes to slam its feet and body into the ground to shake the water to off-put our balance. I use the environment to my advantage, pulling large amounts of rubble onto its spine. Eventually, the creature would escape by diving into deeper waters. On our way back to camp, we encounter a mysterious monster fighting the Leviathan, and Nada confirms that one is the White Wraith. But before we can do anything, it flies off into the distance. I would then unlock a trophy for completing the mission, then another for preparing for the next by cooking over the grill for the first time to increase my stats. We visit the Wudwuds to see if they had seen the White Wraith, but unfortunately they haven't. To our surprise, Zato and his group appear with the Astrum units. They're on their way to a village among the oil springs, known for their craftsmanship. It could just be the perfect place to find more information about the Keepers and the White Wraith. We arrive at Azuz, the Everforge, meeting the Chief Ida and leader Dogard, who say there will be a festival soon. So to pass time, we decide to explore the area, when we come across a girl running off. We also talk to one of the longest serving chiefs, Yabran, as Zato reckons his knowledge could be valuable. While he does not know about the Keepers, he does know of tunnels around the area, as Nada's village is at the end of one. Asking about the girl where she went running off to, her name Maki, went to gather oil needed for the festival. There's a problem with that because the gathering site is crawling with monsters this time of year. We offer to help look for her and come across an abandoned canister near the gathering site. Under all the oil, a Rompopolo slowly emerges, a poisonous creature that can use their tail to inject gas into the ground and detonate it. After slaying the creature, we're able to find Maki with the collected oil. However, disappointment ensues as the Everforge fails to ignite even though it has never happened before. We're then interrupted by one of the Astrum members, Werner. He shows us what is known as the land spine. The crystals are Wilk and form whenever the land spine is damaged. Wilk has also been used in Sato's village, Kunafa. The people here have been using Wilk to stoke their Everforge, but it's no ordinary fuel, which leads to the question, what is this energy for? Werner decides to have an attempt at fixing it, and Zato is alerted that he must return to the village as another sand tide is coming, which should be impossible as it is too soon. Joining him, we intend to go to the Eye of the Storm to hopefully identify why this sand tide is occurring, where once more we see the White Wraith engaging in battle with the region's apex predator, Ray Dow. It manages to overpower it, draining its energy before flying off. However, this Ray Dow is still alive, and to protect the surrounding population, we'll have to slay it. It can store, amplify, and discharge lightning for devastating attacks, which leaves a massive opening where I target its skull until it's dead. Returning to camp, Gemma shows us a piece of the land spine, like that in Azuz, except it's glowing. As the sand tide comes to an end, it loses its glow, meaning the two are likely related. Back in Azuz, we're shown the underground tunnels leading to the Ice Shard Cliffs, allowing Nada to pinpoint where the Keeper's village is. Unfortunately, as we delve deeper, it has been covered in ice due to how many years have passed. With camp set up, we hear a voice in the distance, a Wudwud, being wrapped up by a Nursilla. Capable of many ailments like poison and sleep, but just like the Lalabarina, its abdomen is a serious weak point. The Wodwod's name is Rove, and he thanks us by showing us around the area, which turns out that we're in a large structure built by an ancient civilization. However, our exploration is cut short by a group of Hirabami. Escaping to camp, we discuss the connection between Wilk and the land spine. The land spine isn't natural and is probably an artificial structure built by an ancient civilization, as they share too many architectural similarities. It produces Wilk as well as being connected to the phenomena such as the sand tide in the plains. Add it all up, Wilk seems to be an artificial energy source capable of alternating the weather, in which we need to immediately alert Werner, who is in the process of repairing the land spine connected to Azuz. Werner is successful in repairing it, and the tribe go ahead with their festival. The Everforge begins to ignite, and it explodes within, causing Ajarakans to draw near to the village. They are powerful ape-like monsters, and when angered, can ignite themselves to higher temperatures to cause explosions. With Olivia's help, we're able to repel them. The Everforge burns brighter than ever, causing more monsters to appear. However, tentacles start to emerge, taking the beasts away. The Black Flame, the apex predator of the region. A cephalopod covered in oil slit, and when enraged it can ignite itself for additional damage and breathe harrowing flames. Its tentacles are all vulnerable, and we're able to cut them one by one until we successfully slay it, unlocking a trophy. After the recent event, it has been reported that the ice has melted, allowing us to continue through the tunnel. Surprisingly, a Doshagama appears. It is different with its white fur and glowing blue skin. As we dodge its attack, Wilk-like crystals begin to form. With the beast slain, we can identify that while it is a Doshagama, it might not be, as it lacks reproductive organs and its stomach have atrophied. In addition, during the fight it seemed to absorb energy, which reminds us of what the White Wraith did. Continuing onwards to find the keepers, Nada shouts and Tashin reveals himself, but the reunion is cut short as we're ambushed by a Rathalos with similarities to the monster we just fought. A wyvern that excels in flight, attacking violently with its claws and fire breath. I'd randomly unlock a trophy for performing a sneak attack, despite clearly having the monster's attention. With the Rathalos defeated, we're able to meet Tashin again, who discusses the events since the White Wraith attacked, and the Keepers. The Keepers have carried on traditions of this land. The area we're in was once a city known as Wyveria. The structure we saw in the Ice Shard Cliffs is what remains of it. The people of Wyveria had access to limitless energy that let them control nature at will and reach the height of prosperity. But Wyveria fell. Its people and civilization were lost, except for the traces that remain today, like the underground tunnels known as wormways, a path for energy to travel long distances. They supply energy to every corner of the land, but to what effect it may have, they no longer know. The Keepers are descendants of those who studied this limitless energy and applied it to usher Wyveria into an era of prosperity. They live at the heart of Wyveria's energy production, Wilk, formerly known as Wyvern Milk. Deep underground there is a shrine known as the Dragon Torch, the source of all Wyvern milk. They do not know how it works, nor how to control it, only that it has existed since the age of Wyveria. We ask about the monsters that we have encountered. They seem fixated on Wyvern milk, and Tashin will show us later of what is known as the resting place. Before we go, he tells us that the White Wraith is a guardian by the name of Arkveld, an extinct species. Moving on to the resting place, Tashin shows that their ancestors succeeded in creating life, creatures they call guardians. They were made to serve people, and to this day, they hibernate within cocoons. They have several unique properties, being they don't eat. They use wyvern milk for sustenance, thus they have no need for predation. 2. They live indefinitely, and therefore they do not reproduce. They don't die of natural causes unless they run out of wyvern milk. Ever since Wyveria fell, the Guardians have stayed dormant until recent years, when they began to awake. The Guardians were modelled after existing monsters, enhancing their traits, and because Arkveld was an extinct species, it could be a possibility as to why it escaped to the outside world. Tashin then begins to explain that Nada's pendant has a unique function, and decides he'd rather show us. However, more monsters awake from their cocoon, and Arkveld suddenly appears as it begins to feast on them. To protect everyone, we must repel the Guardian Arkveld, that strikes hard and fast with its chain-like appendages. We slice through its body continuously until it flees. Tashin acknowledges that the Arkfeld was feeding and wonders how it learned such behaviour. It hasn't happened before as far as he is aware. However, the All-Harken knows more than him. She is an advisor to the Keepers and lives in a village in the peaks called Suja. The only way to reach her is through a blizzard and a giant monster, Jin Dahad, the largest leviathan we have fought so far. It surrounds its massive form in cold temperatures with ridge-like cooling organs across its body, making it very susceptible to the Dualblade wound attack. The frost its limbs produce doubles as a potent weapon, and after using their environment to collapse rubble onto it, we proceed into Suja. Meeting the All-Harken, she can't explain why Arkfeld woke up, but elaborates that Wyveria created the Dragon Torch. They channeled the energy along the wormways, wielding its power in every corner of the land. At time it was lightning to dispel monsters, or a heavy downpour to cleanse poisons discarded upon the land. It was fire to forge precious materials, and it negated the very weight of buildings, so they could mount the sky. Their greatest creation were the Guardians, a host of servile creatures to do their bidding. But how did such a place fall to ruin? They invited calamity upon themselves. Once the threat of war loomed at their gates, they created a Guardian to be their saviour, unaware that it would spell their own demise. Or perhaps they did know. This Guardian fell dormant, but remains alive today. To understand more about the Guardians and what will become of Arkfeld, we'll need to delve deeper into the resting place to find those answers, where we encounter a Guardian Ebony Odogaron, an agile monster with its well-developed claws. But there was no time to rest after defeating it, as a Jiwu tries taking it and us as prey, a cephalopod with sharp tentacles and even teeth hidden on its underside. Like with the Black Flame, we target its tentacles until it is dead. Reaching the lower stratum, we see Arkfeld feasting on more creatures. To continue the preservation of the ecosystem, we must slay it. The fight got intense, from almost being crushed within its jaw to it absorbing the wyvern milk from the cocoons for more energy. Yet luckily we come out successful. Arriving at the Dragon Torch, we can see a Guardian cocooned inside. We report back to the All-Harken and Tashin. This Guardian is known as Zojia, and it has been absorbing energy off the Dragon Torch, so we cannot leave it unchecked. They will explain that Nata's pendant possesses a substance to counteract the energy in a time of crisis. However, considering this energy powers every corner of the land, we're not sure of the consequences that could happen. So our hunter decides to take on Zojia itself, a powerful creature that excels in energy-based attacks from fire to electricity and explosions. The longer we fight it, its crystallized form begins to shatter, revealing its true form. I slice through its body to slay it, successfully keeping the ecosystem safe, which unlocks me a trophy for completing the mission. This concludes the main story of Monster Hunter Wilds, yet we're not done, as there are still several post-story trophies to be unlocked. The guild are eager to continue their discoveries in the Forbidden Lands, one of these discoveries being an egg that is likely to be an Arkveld's. With all the energy that Zojia was siphoning, it is now free to flow out into the land, resulting in locales going through a season of plenty. In the Scarlet Forest, we would find a group of Yian Cuckoo, and to study them, we've been ordered to capture one, where we'll have to weaken the skittish and fire-breathing bird wyvern enough to use a trap and put it to sleep with trank bombs. I'd unlock 2 trophies here, as somehow someone joined the mission, resulting in completing my first quest in multiplayer, and for completing that mission. To continue the story, I would have to increase my hunter rank, which means I'd unlock a few trophies along the way, such as establishing 10 pop-up camps, completing my first field survey by slaying a monster in the environment, using my capture net to capture a creature that bears an ancient wyvern coin, and record my first miniature crown in the hunting log. Eventually, we would come across a Nursilla that has been infected by a virus known as Frenzy. These monsters can eventually infect you with said virus, which means you'll take more damage if inflicted. Fabius conducts research into the virus. While that happens, Olivia's unit returns from an investigation. In Wyveria, a Lala Barina has been spotted, mysteriously far from its natural habitat. Under the assumption that it must possess abnormal traits, the potential harm to the region cannot be ignored. What also cannot be ignored is the awakening of a Guardian Volga and Jananth in the area. After slaying the 2 with Olivia, we unlock a trophy. In conclusion, the Lala Barina is a tempered monster, and they are stronger than your ordinary ones. Once more, I needed to increase my hunter rank. I'd unlock 2 trophies in the process. The first for completing my first investigation, which can be done by choosing a monster on the map and saving it to complete later. I then completed a total of 50 quests. Eventually, Fabius would return with his report, and the frenzy virus is tied to a monster known as Gore Magala. Unfortunately, poor Rove has been infected, and to make a potential cure, we'll need to slay the Gore Magala for a tissue sample. A powerful demi-elder that can decimate your health bar in an instance. Its frenzy breath can catch you out, and when enraged it transforms for even more attacks. After slaying the beast, I'd unlock a trophy. There have been reports that an Arkveld is targeting apex monsters and leaving them in awful states, likely unable to control its appetite, and with no reports of a Raydal being attacked yet, it is our chance to find Arkveld and put an end to it, unlocking the final story trophy of the game. It is now time to unlock the remaining trophies. Let's start by hunting my last monster of all the monsters in the game, then completing 30 different side quests ranging from slaying monsters, fishing, and capturing endemic life. With all the materials I amassed from the story, I was able to forge 5 different pieces of armor with at least rarity 7. Next, I rested for plenty weather and nighttime in the Windward Plains to hopefully spawn a creature in the desert that shines like a shooting star. This little blue mouse that runs incredibly fast. You're most likely not going to catch up to it, so use a screamer pod to briefly stun it for an easy catch. Remember how I unlocked a few trophies tied to the word crown? There are 2 types of crowns important for these trophies, being the miniature gold crown and large gold crown. This means you fought a monster of a size that is really small or really big. There are 3 monsters without crowns in the game, being Jindahad, Guardian Arkveld, and Zogia. That means you'll have to obtain both crowns for all the other monsters to unlock these trophies coming up. If you're new to the franchise, these trophies have existed in the previous entries, World and Rise. They were the hardest trophies to obtain in those games, as you had to either hunt monsters until you got crowns, or measure them with your own body to reduce the time it takes. In Wilds, it could not be easier. Your binoculars can identify if a monster is either of those crowns, which in result drastically reduces the amount of time this platinum takes. I had this lucky moment where I got a small crown and large crown Gongala in the same area. After some time, I would unlock 2 trophies, one for obtaining a gold crown for 10 monsters, as well as 10 miniature crowns in the hunting log. During the process of obtaining crowns, I'd capture a total of 50 monsters, possess 1 million zenny, hunted 100 large monsters, hunted 50 tempered monsters, then obtained a gold and miniature crown for every possible monster, resulting in 2 trophies. Pitfall trap, here we go. Trank bomb. End the quest immediately. There we go. Miniature crown master. Obtained a miniature crown for many monsters in the hunting log. I can't believe how easy it is in this game compared to the others. This next trophy required me to forge an Artian weapon of rarity 8, which meant hunting strong-tempered monsters such as Arkveld. After completing these hunts, you're given random parts that can be forged into one of these weapons. While at the smithy, I also forged 5 different weapons with rarity 7 or higher. A few of the next trophies simply required me to enjoy the hunting, like reaching hunter rank 100, completing 100 quests with my Palico, hunting 50 apex predators. These include Raydal, Duna, the Black Flame, and Jindahad, and completing 100 quests in multiplayer. I then had to reel in 30 whoppers while fishing. Whoppers are larger fish that require more effort reeling them in, by following their movement. The most frustrating bit is just trying to get the fish to bite the bait, but at the end of the day, it's fishing. It requires patience. Following up on this, I had to catch a giant squid during the downpour. I also had a special bait to easily get it by completing all the related fishing side quests. For this next trophy, I had to obtain 10 different special items of rarity 6. Some of these are obtained by noticing when an emergence is happening, and by going to them, then mining the item, you'll add it to your growing collection. Some items like the pollens require a specific time for them to be obtained. Thankfully, your map filter tells you if these items are on the map at that given time, because I got quite unlucky when I went for one as it had just become morning, resulting it in disappearing. These next trophies were tied to multiplayer. By opening the lobby menu, you'll see a bunch bunch of other players, and by viewing 30 different hunter profiles, you'll unlock a trophy. Then by following a player in the same drop-down menu, unlocks another. I then had the two easiest trophies left before the platinum, and that was to customize a pop-up camp for the first time, then successfully cook a well-done steak for the first time at the grill, resulting in the platinum trophy for Monster Hunter Wilds. Overall, it is the easiest Monster Hunter to platinum, but I'm not complaining as I had a lot of fun with this game. If you've enjoyed this video, you might like these on how I platinum Monster Hunter World, Iceborne, and Rise.